Sam went down, and it looks like on the depth chart he's listed, and Jake had the appendicitis. Was it late last week? Is that right?
Yeah, it was kind of middle of the week. You know, we listed them. I met with Tim earlier. We listed them. They're going to be, both of them are going to be questionable. We'll keep you posted day to day as we go. It'll probably be something later on in the week. Right now, today they won't practice. So we'll see. You know, Sam's got a sprained ankle, and Jake had the appendicitis, and somewhere between questionable, doubtful, or probable is where it'll lie. Charlie Renfrey will go if those two guys aren't able to go, though.
Just looking back on Saturday, how do you feel like Charlie, performed when obviously, being thrown in the middle of that kind of atmosphere? How do you feel like he did?
I thought he did well. If you look at their defensive line and that kind of situation, that's a challenge. And so we're pleased. Now there's room for improvement, but pleased for where we're at. I mean, we got to be razor thin there in a hurry against a very capable opponent. So we're pleased with how he did.
How do you continue the success of the running game? Well, you had great running with Sean and DJ. How do you continue that into Florida Atlantic?
Well, we made good progress last week. Those guys are very capable runners, and the fact that we weren't able to put up a lot of rushing yards against Air Force, I don't think really had a lot to do with Sean and DJ's ability, their reads and things like that. It was, I think, a significant improvement by our offensive line, and getting matched up and getting man on man. We tweaked a couple schemes here and there, which were helpful, and we've got two really good running backs. We've got to give them some room to run, though. They can't just make 5 people miss at the line of scrimmage, and certainly against Oregon we did a better job, and that will be important as we go on to play Florida Atlantic. We're going to be much more proficient on offense if we're able to run the football. We were able to beat Air Force, but we had to squeeze every play out and come up with some passing plays on the last drive, and that's not really our MO. And I thought how we ran the ball against Oregon is certainly helpful because that opens up a lot of our play-action passing game.
Along those same lines with the running game, I don't know if you have a plan in place on where you wanted to be right now with your running game, but are you kind of ahead of where you thought you would be with that, especially how well you ran against Oregon?
Give and take, depending on the ball game. I thought against Montana we moved the ball fairly well on the ground, and then against Air Force we struggled, and the rushing yardage I guess indicated that. But I was pleasantly surprised when we popped some runs out against Oregon, and those guys were physically, I don't know, they were 6'8", 280 pounds, and they moved well. And so I thought we really made significant progress in the running game against Oregon, and we're in hopes that continues this week. So after the Oregon game, I'd say a little bit ahead of where I thought we'd be.
You mentioned, that you weren't, defensively there wasn't a lot of positives
No.
to draw.
Fourth down stop.
The fourth down stop, but obviously that's a good offense. But now you said, how we got to respond from it and learn from it. But look, that was a very good team, so I don't imagine there's a lot of panic. Is it just going back to work and reinforcing the things that you had done before, or how do you kind of get them to bounce back from
Well, I think a lot of it is that's just a rapport you build up with a position coach and coordinators and coaches, and you go into a room, and what a game like Oregon gives you an opportunity to do, Robert, is sometimes mistakes can get glossed over, fundamentals. You know what, when you have as much talent as somebody else, then okay, some guy's not in the exact right spot. Well, he's got enough ability to overcome that, or somebody on the backside. When you're playing Oregon, there is no margin for error. You have to be in the perfect place every time, and sometimes even that case doesn't get it done. And so what we'll do is show the tape and say, okay, fundamentally and structurally on defense, this is where we needed to be. And it's kind of like you can say, well, you got to work on this angle to contain the quarterback. Yeah, coach, I got it. Yeah, we got it. Well, you're playing that rascal from Oregon. If you're not in the perfect place, even if you are sometimes, now him launching himself at the 5-yard line and almost going, I had no answer for that. I was like, okay, we're out of, I don't know what we're going to do here. I'm going to vote for him for the Heisman right now. But I think competition brings out the best in you. And as coaches, it's important for us to handle that right. Our effort was there, our execution. And when I say execution, that's not all on the players, that's coaches. We've got to coach some things up. But that's going to give us an opportunity to get better. I think, as from a spread offensive standpoint, I don't know if there's a better offense in the country. And that's going to sharpen us. It's going to make us better. And we need to take a proactive approach and don't get down on our players. Show our players where they can improve, and we're in hopes that we'll look better on defense this week.
Craig, is it fair to say you learn a little more from a loss than a win? Is that fair to say?
The wins have helped us to learn how to win here, to have some adversity, to work through being down at halftime, things like that. My best friend is a banker, and he says you make bad loans in good times. Sometimes in the midst of all that success, you don't get exposed, and this is an opportunity right now to where we have to learn from that. If we handle it right as coaches and we handle it right as a football team, we'll move forward from this and use it as a stepping stone, and that's going to be our approach. And the one thing that is an advantage with an experienced, seasoned coaching staff, which we are fortunate to have, they're good teachers, they're good men, and we'll take a proactive, positive approach and get better from this.
What do you see from Florida Atlantic defensively? Imagine there's some athletes there, but what have you seen from them defensively that maybe concerns you at this point?
Well, big, strong, physical defensive front, guys that move around well, really talented cover corner on one side. I think he was All-Conference USA pick last year. He led the conference in knockdowns and things like that. So they have skill and speed. They operate out of a 4-down look. They'll rotate guys in there, and they play where they're supposed to play. And now Nebraska was able to get some big plays. Alabama, moved the ball on them, but they did a great job against the University of Tulsa. They had their quarterback in a real tailspin. They came up with a pick 6, and they got a safety, and they were just very aggressive. And so it's going to be important for us to neutralize that.
Coach, is there any concern? I know you play Oregon, you play Air Force, but the defensive ends haven't had a sack so far in 3 games. Is there any concern there, or do you think it's more kind of situational playing those teams?
Well, Oregon was going to be situational, and the Air Force game was unique in the fact that most of the time you're defending things for the triple option. We had pressure on the quarterback, but we couldn't tackle him. And is that a concern? There are going to be a lot of people who won't tackle that guy. And we just got to recognize that our guys, there's angles that we could have done better and stuff like that, but you don't have an answer. A guy runs 4.28. We're in hopes that this week those guys can come around, and we'll need to put them in a situation to where it's 3rd down and long, where we can pin our ears back a little bit. And I believe we have good defensive ends. Some of it is just the first couple games. I don't know if we've been able to highlight their skills.
Early on defense, I think the defensive on 3rd down is like 51% conversion rate. Again, Oregon had some success, but is that a big concern? And is there anything in particular that you see that needs to improve in that area right now?
Well, we need to, when we have an opportunity to get after the quarterback, we need to. I thought Montana's quarterback caused some problems for us on 3rd down, and certainly Oregon did as well. We're facing it seems like everybody's got a good quarterback, and those numbers need to improve, and some of it's going to be the ability to mix up some things. Coach Standard to have some more tools in his toolbox as far as repertoires, calling things on 3rd down, and that makes a big difference. Also, the other thing, Robert, with 3rd down conversion rate has a great deal to do on what you do on 1st down. I mean, if you get ahead of the sticks to where now you're creating 60 or 2nd down at 8+ over 60-some% of the time, your ability to get off the field on 3rd down goes significantly up, because most of the time you're dealing with 3rd down and long. If you're dealing with 3rd down and makeables, 3 to 4s, a lot harder to get off the field.
Coach, they mentioned Tanner Gentry. Obviously, he had that nice catch with his first career touchdown. Just what have you seen, since you've gotten here, as far as him and his skill set and I guess his work ethic?
Well, the combination right there, I'd like to talk about his work ethic. Not only his work ethic, but all of them. Coach Burns has done a really good job. I mean, they've changed not drastically, but quite a bit as far as their route running. It's a pro-style offense, so they're operating in a pro-style offense, and there's more precision routes and things of that nature. And Tanner's taken coaching well. It was great to see him come up. It was a well-thrown ball, but also he positioned himself well against that corner. And so we've got a lot of capable receivers, and certainly Tanner's one of them. What's encouraging, he's one of our younger receivers. Some of the other guys are playing significant reps or seniors, and it's great to have a young player like Tanner come out. And in a big ball game like that, come up with a big play in the end zone. That's going to give him a lot of confidence.